again, the types of solids that you need to be aware of are prisms. Okay, prisms are going to have a pair of parallel and congruent bases connected by rectangles. We might have pyramids. A pyramid takes a polygon base and connects all the vertices of that to one common vertex. Okay, we could have a cylinder. A cylinder has two parallel and congruent circular bases. Okay, and then finally we have a cone. A cone has a circular base connected to a single vertex. Okay, in addition to these, you may also see a sphere. Okay, so if you have a sphere, just a circle in 3 dimensions. And then you might also have a portion of a sphere. If you take half of it, it's called a hemisphere. All right. So here's the basic types of solids that you're going to look at. Again, the assumption is the solids that we're working on in this chapter are right solids, meaning that the bases are directly above each other. The vertex is in the directly over the middle or center of the base. And when you get to the point where you are trying to represent these on Sketchpad, you're not going to use this little sketch tool like I did. You are going to use the tools of Sketchpad, and here's what I would suggest you do when you're working through those. Okay, so let's say you wanted to construct a prism, and you take whatever the shape of the base is and you draw that shape. So in this case, let's say we start with a triangle. Okay, now, even if you have a right triangle or right angles, you don't have to express them as right angles on this. In fact, you kind of want to use perspective to give it a little bit of an angle so it's easier to kind of manipulate. Right? And then once you create your base, and again, what I would suggest you do on your base is fill it in. And so if you highlight the points and hit Control P, it'll fill that in for you. Okay, and then if you select your figure, and notice you may have to deselect or select the individual pieces. But if you select your figure and just hit Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and then just place that directly underneath the original and connect the corresponding vertices with straight lines, you'll be able to express your solid with the congruent and parallel bases. First, for a pyramid, same idea, except you don't need to copy and paste the parallel and congruent bases. You simply need to draw one base. So again, if you draw, even if you're working on a rectangle or a square, you can draw it at a perspective where it's angled a little bit. Okay, and then just for this one, a pyramid is a polygon base connected to a single vertex. So if you just connect all of those points to one common vertex, you're good. If you wanted to use dashed lines to show something in the background, you could. So if you highlighted this segment right here, you could either right-click on it and change to a dashed line, or a dotted line to represent that it's in the background or kind of in the back. You can do that. It's completely up to you. Once again, I would suggest that you shade in the base. So Control P will shade that in for you. Again, to represent that is the base of your figure or your solid. All right, so those are the polyhedra, the all polygon shapes. And when you come to these solids of revolution that have the curves on them, if you remember, does anybody remember how we did the curves? I don't want you to do a cylinder with circles. Okay? And the reason for that is if you draw a circle, oops, and you try to align these, it doesn't look right. It's not going to have the right perspective. Plus, as you try to put the pieces on the side, they might not look like what you want them to look like. And so what I would do instead is, again, did anybody recall what we did in chapter 1 for cylinders? It's been a little while. I trust that somebody learned. Somebody had to have been listening to me. Nobody listened to me? Now nobody even looking at me. Okay. All right, so I'll review that again. It's pretty simple. Okay, if you want to do the curved line, all you need to do basically is if you plot 4 points kind of in the shape of a diamond, and it doesn't have to be exact, and you can move them around if you want, and then just highlight the top 3, select construct and choose arc through 3 points. Do the same thing with the bottom 3 points. Construct an arc through 3 points. And you can, again, you can manipulate these to get whatever angle you want on that. And then you can just copy and paste it. Once you have the shape the way that you want it, you can copy and paste. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. And then just again connect those corresponding vertex points on the outside, and you have what has the perspective of the cylinder you would hand draw anyway. Okay, a couple things that you might want to do on this. The points that you use to form the arc, you may want to hide those. You can keep or hide the points on the side. It's completely up to you. Okay, so if you want, you can hide them. And then if you wanted to shade the bases, and this is where people will call me over to ask questions individually, but if you can follow along. If you want to shade these bases, all you need to do is just highlight the 2 curves that form your whole kind of representation of the circular base. Go to Construct, choose Arc Interiors, and choose Arc Segment. Bless you. And not Arc Sector. Remember, sector is like a slice of pizza or pie. Arc Segment. And then you notice it shades them 2 separate colors. You can just change the color if you want so that it's consistent. Do the same thing on the other, or you could even do this before you copy and paste it. Okay, construct, choose Arc Interiors, Segments, Display, and select a color so that they have the same color. All right, so the same idea for a cone. You're gonna represent the curves of your base. Again, just kind of a diamond shape with your points. Select the top 3, construct an arc through those points. Bottom 3, construct an arc through the points. Now this time, instead of copying and pasting, just draw lines from each of the endpoints here to a common vertex, and you've created your cone. Once again, if you highlight your curves that form that base, construct Arc Interior, choose Segment, set them the same color, you can get the base to be shaded on that. Right. Finally, for a sphere, this one you can just draw a circle, but if you wanted to use the curves to represent the 3 dimensions of this, do the same thing that we just did. Set up 4 points in the shape of a diamond, select the top 3, construct an arc, select the bottom 3, construct an arc. In this case, again, you can move it around to get the representation that you're looking for. And this one you may want to change this to a dashed line, possibly hide your reference points. Control H would hide them, and you can represent the sphere in that form. And then finally, the hemisphere. Once again, you just construct basically what you did here in the base of a cylinder or cone. So I'm just going to copy these, Control C and Control V to copy and paste. And then what you would need to do is create one more point, so you can now choose an arc with 3 points, construct that arc. Oops, I'm going to turn it to a solid. And again, you can move your points a little bit if you need to in order to get the look that you want from the hemisphere. And if you want to get rid of your reference points when you're done, you may be able to see it a little more easily. All right.